Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Monday, 24th of May, 2021, and welcome to episode 10 of Hindsight, where we learn to be a better trader. We're going to take a look at trades that I've taken today, as well as trades that I could have taken today, sort of do a bit of a review, an overview of what happened, what could have been done better, as well as potential setups for tomorrow that I'm looking at. Now, what we got here is LEL, is the stock ticker. Lithium Energy was an IPO, was very, uninteresting for quite a few days, caused a bit of a triangle, bit of a wedge, and just kind of broke out on low volumes, eventually shot out to the upside, causing another setup and a break. And that was the break that I caught in the afternoon. That was around 3 o'clock where I spotted this big pump go up, because this is the 15-minute chart, guys. So pumped up, pulled back, caught it into close at around 47 or possibly 47.5. I don't exactly recall, but I did get at that level. And was targeting match today, but because there was a big sort of sell wall at 50 cents, the match became a strong positive within 2 minutes to open, so ended up scaling out of that position instead of dumping it all on open. Looked really good and sold it all the way out to 54 cents. Did not expect it to shoot up to 59. I think that's a bit of an overshoot considering the volumes that came in. And look, I was happy with that trade, right? 47 to, I guess, maybe about 52.5 average, possibly 53. So really happy with that trade as a percentage gain. Didn't expect this volume to come in. That was a lot of opening volume. Now, I'm thinking Fridays perhaps are a better time to trade, perhaps like an overnight hold. I'm finding that maybe people do their charting over the weekend and look for setups for Monday. Not entirely sure, but look, it was a good setup regardless. Volumes are a bit larger than I expected. Happy with the trade ultimately. CPN, this was, I believe, a chalcopyrite hit, so copper. What we have, and I tweeted this one out, is 100 mil market cap. Now, we don't see this very often. A micro cap hitting 100 mil. To me, that was a very common thing to hit in pre-COVID days for micro caps. 100 mil market cap was kind of this unknown thing. People didn't really have it as a target. In fact, most people don't seem to acknowledge market capitalization as some sort of factor in trading. But for me, I noticed it very early on was 100 mil market cap is almost the same as like a 10-cent resistant level or a $1 resistant level or a $10 level. It acts as a level of resistance a lot of the time. Like there is some nuance to that, of course. So what I have here is the market capitalization. You can see where it peaks out at 102 million, and again 102 mil. Didn't expect that retest. Could have caught the retest, but really I actually thought it was done when it started selling off here, and kind of just stopped watching it because to me that was it. It hit the level, sold out, got quite a few ticks out of it, was really happy, and that's all she wrote. I caught this one on the upswing when it broke this horizontal here at 146, ended up getting at about 148, and just rode it to 164 and a half. So didn't quite catch the absolute top, but I was really happy with that trade. So that's CPN, that's pretty straightforward trade. We got BPM, this one's looking really good if I bring up the daily chart. This is going to be like another LEL overnight hold for me, provided it closes today relatively high, above 47 ideally. So we've got the opening price here of this big gap up. So that's kind of the level at 52. It's kind of a key level that I'm looking at. And if I bring up just the 15-minute chart, see it a little bit clearer. And there's a sort of a horizontal here as well. That's a level. So I caught the break to the upside here at 48. Looking to retest here at 47.5, which is fine. Looking for it to close above this level and riding it to 52 as the first target. And then I believe 55 is the next target below this 56. And that's really just a short-term trade, just overnight, potentially. Obviously, depending on how it closes today, because it is 3:30 at the moment. I'm just kind of keeping an eye on the trade at the moment. What we have is Kogan. Now, this one was interesting. Yesterday was a clear as day short, right? Gapping down. The EBITDA is down significantly. I think it was like 26% or something for the half year or the full year. I can't remember the exact details. It was a clear as day short. 875 was the target that I had in Discord, and it got there eventually. I didn't actually end up closing at 875. It was something along the lines of 886, 887, when it kept failing to break these levels. It was actually quite frustrating to see. So Kogan was really good. I didn't actually catch it today on the long. And the reason I say that it was interesting is because the cause of the EBITDA, the cause of the financial downgrade or the estimates downgrade is because of a word I never heard before, and that was demurrage. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it, but basically it's a fine or a fee for not offloading product from a ship. That's my understanding of demurrage. And that's what's dug into the margins and profits for Kogan. So whereas, for example, A2 Milk in my previous videos was, well, there's a profit downgrade from structural issues. This seems to be a one-off issue where they're like, oh shit, we actually couldn't unload stock fast enough, so it's digging into our margin. So it's not like the business is on a downswing. It's just they fucked up, basically. So the overselling was perhaps, well, that's what it was, I think, just overselling. And it started breaking up off key levels. And really, unfortunately, I didn't catch this one. I wasn't at my screens all day. I really was just trading the morning session. But in hindsight, this makes sense. This move makes sense. There was an overselling, overreaction to a drop in EBITDA, a drop in financials. But when one looks at the reasoning behind it, it kind of makes sense that this stock should have a bounce off the back of that. It's not actually that bad. It's a one-off fee. The assumption is the company will bounce back because it's just a one-off and they'll never do that again, hopefully, if they have better planning in the future. So that's the kind of idea behind that one. Again, didn't take this trade on the bounce to the upside, but there was the opportunity. Now, Zip expanding into the Middle East and Europe, I believe. I didn't really care too much about the announcement. To me, it was like business as usual, right? It's like, okay, you're expanding. Cool. What difference is it whether you expand in Europe, in Asia, or somewhere else in the US that they're already expanded to, right? To me, that's business as usual. All that suggests is that there's going to be more costs coming in to expand the business, which of course isn't a bad thing, but of course there'll be short-term pain in order for the long-term gain. So therefore, why should the stock really have a significant move? And what we have here is a gap up and sell off, and that's the 1 minute, that's the 3 minute chart here. And of course, you've got your gap up and fade. And if you haven't noticed, that's a bit of a trend lately. Gap up, fade, and that's what Zip does. Gap up, fade. I mean, when was the last time Zip gapped up and didn't fade? Good question. Gap up, fade. Welcome to Zip Pay. I mean, there's not much else to say about it. I like the company for the long-term prospects, but intraday, I think there's no interest to take it higher at the moment. Gap up and fade is just, that's all there is to it, guys. It's a pattern, get used to it. ACW, this looks like LEL to me. A good setup. Again, another Friday setup. I didn't take this one, but I did spot it as an opportunity. Throughout the day, someone called it out in public Discord at around 8.2. I took a few ticks off of it, but I didn't hold on Friday close. Even though the setup was really good, I didn't unfortunately spot this one. So clear horizontal here, and the setup was just beautiful. And then a high volume pop today. And of course, we've got another resistance level here at 75, so we can see intraday what it looked like. A nice little setup. And of course, when volumes come in, that's all that matters really is volumes. When you get a nice technical setup, if volumes come in, you feel really safe with the position that you take. At least that's how I feel about it. I always love seeing high volumes come into my overnight holds. And really, I wasn't expecting 10 cents. I mean, I just scalped it for a few ticks here and there after catching it at about 8.5, 8.6. But yeah, 10 cent magnet. And of course, what happens when you get close to the 10 cents? Dies off. 9.2 is, I mentioned it a few times, 9.2 is a good target when it hits 10 cents or 10.5. And if it pulls back and you expect it to rally further to like 11 cents, 12 cents, then 9.2 is usually the good entry. But really, after a rally like that, I'm not expecting it to push to 12 or something like that today. You can already see how much volume has flowed in today. So that's pretty much all that's happened today. And if you happen to like the content, please hit that sub button. Otherwise, hit the like and leave a comment. I'd appreciate it a lot. Otherwise, have a good one, guys.